months ago, during a meeting with the mayor, the city manager, and the department heads, there was discussion and need identified to somewhat reorganize code enforcement. We made an effort to make contact with residents and homeowners and tenants, and have received a great support in getting that done. Some of the comments is, well, I just didn't realize that was mine. I thought that was the city's responsibility. And so we're working towards that, and to understand that is actually the homeowners or the tenants' responsibilities. The decision was made that the code enforcement will be placed under the police department, primarily because it is an enforcement type unit and duties, responsibilities enforcing the municipal ordinances as well as the international property maintenance codes. Officially, the guys have been out working since mid-December and are really becoming more active, if you will, or seen with the summer months coming on, the grass and the trees. What we want to do is kind of make our citizens aware of what some of those codes are. I'll submit to you, if you walk up to a resident pretty much anywhere in Reno and say, do you know what the municipal code says about grass and weeds? Most of them aren't going to really know. So we want to utilize and kind of help educate and make our citizens aware of what our ordinances say. The officers in the field working are making individual contacts. When we identify a location that may be in violation or coming too close to violation, is the code enforcement officers actually going out and making contact with the resident and say, hey, look, we have this issue, we'd like for you to help us. And that's what it's all about. It's not necessarily taking drastic enforcement actions, but it's gaining and receiving the help from the citizens in a cooperative effort. We've actually created somewhat of a handbill, a pamphlet, if you will. It gives some of the kind of the breakdown of some of the most frequent scene violations, so that people understand. As an example, by our ordinances, some may not be aware that the property owner or the tenant is actually responsible for the property from basically the street curb edge or the street edge back through to the alleyway, should the addition or their home have an alleyway into it. And just make a quick reference to a sidewalk, with the sidewalk in front of your house, and there's usually grass just beyond the sidewalk for a short distance. That grassy area is actually the tenants and the homeowner's responsibility to maintain, as far as keeping the grass mowed and debris and what have you picked up. Being the same way to the alley behind the residence. The old days, as a kid, the alleyways where all the trash and stuff was picked up. Things have changed because of the size of trash trucks and what have you. But the alleyway is still the responsibility of the tenant or the property owner to keep the grass mowed and limbs picked up and what have you. We have a couple different neighborhoods who abut up to a creek. The one in particular was an area in the southwest portion of our city, and we have tenants or homeowners that have taken care of their section, keeping it mowed or at least the debris and what have you off the creek beds or the embankments and what have you. But then there's a section through there that they have neglected it. So we're working individually with those individuals along that area of notifying them, hey, look, you need to get this mowed or weed eated or whatever it may be to help with that. Some of the other things that we encounter on a regular basis and make people aware, by our ordinances and actually by state statute, a vehicle parked on your property has to be legally tagged and insured. So we have those residents or those places in town and in our city limits that individuals may have 2 or 3 cars parked around their residence that they're storing stuff in. That's actually a violation of our ordinances. Ordinances prohibit any major repair being done in a driveway or in the front yard, and especially on the street. Another issue we run across on a regular basis, RV trailers and camping trailers and what have you. Ordinances permit a RV or camping trailer to be parked at your residence. The ordinance is specific that it has to be a minimum of 20 feet off the street road edge, and it has to be at least 5 feet behind the front portion of the residence. The ordinance requires that if you have those RV camper or trailer or whatever, you can't live in it. Most don't really realize what the ordinances say and would believe that, well, this is my property, I can do whatever, but we have ordinances created to make sure that everyone is safe. And the purpose of ordinances is put together by the people to the governing body, so we have a safe and nice place to live. The ordinances can be found at City Hall through the city clerk's office, but in today's society, it's all on the web. The City of El Reno website, there's a link that says for our municipal ordinances, and all those can be found, not only the code enforcement, but traffic, building codes, animal codes, all that can be found on the website through that link. Say, for instance, that you want to know about speed limits in areas and what have you. I mean, you can type in speed and it'll bring up all the ordinances that relate to speed. You can type in the word abandoned vehicles and it'll bring up Chapter 64 of our property codes. Questions about parking on the street over 24 hours. You can put that in there in a search field, and it'll bring those ordinances up for you as well. We've been real pleased with the cooperation and what have we've gotten from our citizens. It's basically trying to enforce what our ordinances say to make people aware that, hey, you're responsible for this. And we would sure like your cooperation and help.